to ya dikoloi. It's the most of these cases in page 11, they emanate from about 2013, 2014, 2015. So there have been a lot of challenges with actually closing this, because to close them, you need to, where it's clear that the accidents were preventable, you need to have taken action against the officer and then recovered the funds. Now the ministry has been challenged with a large number of accidents, from the past. And then the other issue has been that there have been delays in there have been delays in taking addressing disciplinary hearings. Because currently what happens is that if once an accident is reported to CTO, what has been happening, then for the CTO or for us to get an estimate of what to charge the officer, especially where the accident has been deemed preventable, that value was generally derived from the cost of repairing the vehicle. So I understand that there was a delay in the repairing of vehicles because the repairing depended on the availability of funds. And so many times, by the time the values were received from CTO, it was too late for you to be able to justifiably take disciplinary action. And so then it just defeated the process. And so what we have actually now since February started doing is to actually look at the value loss of a vehicle if it's been determined that this was a preventable accident, because that's a much shorter process. And because that's a much shorter process, which would allow when disciplinary action can be taken, will be taken, because that's the only way that you can surcharge someone when they have gone through the right disciplinary action. So this is what we have started to implement. Unfortunately, most of them, and although we said case under progress, but it's not conceivable that someone who did an accident in 2013, you can still go to them and do a disciplinary hearing and charge them because of natural justice. So these are things that we actually need to do, what needs to be done to close them. But it's very unlikely we will recover that money. But going forward, as I said, we have actually instituted a number of things. We are working now with the Government Fleet Management, which was formerly called CTO, to take our drivers especially for defensive driving techniques, because there were just too many accidents involving our vehicles. And then that has already been done in the south and the central part of the country. Now, the other issue that also, even where the disciplinary processes could have happened in time, sometimes there were delays, but we've determined that some of it were actually from the competency of people who needed to carry out those. So we've also currently training people on conducting disciplinary hearings. So, and then I've already talked to the issue of the transport officers, because sometimes there were delays in that. Currently, our fleet management and also the supervision of drivers is done by admin officers who are sometimes not conversant with the issues around transport management. And so that caused a lot of delays. And that's why we actually in the process of rationalizing position to create positions for transport officers. And we are hoping that this year we would be able to create 9 positions that would allow us also to reduce the process of recovering what governments, or recovering from the individuals that would have been deemed to have caused the accident. So those are, that is what I can explain with this, because as we can see, they really come from many years ago, these cases.
So basically what you are saying to us is that those that come from 2014, 2013 and other years before then, you put them here as a case under progress, but we are saying they should be written off. Because you cannot now conduct a disciplinary hearing 10 years later.
Yeah.
If it has not been conducted at the time, then you cannot do it now. So are you saying then you want to ask for write-offs for these ones?
We are not yet asking for write-offs, because that also is a process. There's a process that needs to be followed, and those processes need to be complete. That would actually allow for that to be done.
One of the processes is to ensure that there is a disciplinary hearing, right? If you have not done that, then the process of write-off, what does it entail? Why have you been with this for 10 years without any action?
Yeah, I think some of these actually come from the districts, or come from the districts, and so we need to close the process even from the districts. So I am not justifying that it has taken too long, and so we are getting all the information that we need so that we can close whatever the closure means. And maybe it
yes,
will be.
What is the process of writing off? Because you are now saying these ones have taken too long, and you are saying because of natural justice, you can't start now saying you are putting a person under disciplinary process after 10 years. So what is the process of write-off, so that at least we acknowledge that money has been lost to government, but now we want to know what process are you going to follow from here?
Yes, so the process basically is for the department to write to myself to say, this and this one we can no longer discipline because it's taken too long, and then to see whether it is actually, have we done, is that true, is that a fact, and then we would need to, if it's evident that there is no way to recover, then we would need to write to finance to request.
I'm told that those within your threshold and those that we have to refer to finance.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
For those within your threshold, have you taken action? For those that should be referred to finance, have you written a single letter?
I have, sir.
You have?
Yeah.
So when you say case under progress, you mean that you have written a letter?
I cannot, not all of them. Not all of them.
This may not be communicating anything to us. Or so what le makwalo ke bori itse le hore that within your threshold le tsone ga bore ne re itse re bona hore tsere action e. Honorable members, I get you.
Yeah. No, I think Piers needs to acknowledge the fact that she hasn't done what she's explaining is now something she should have long done, because from 2018, 2014, back then, there's no prospects of recovering this money. And therefore, knowingly or not, explanation today does not apply. It is what you should have done in the past. So perhaps to save us the trouble, Mr. Chair, I would direct the
Hey,
I think.
Let me just. Okay, now I just want now to maybe to seek the guidance and advice of our advisors here. Here we have cases, right, that are under progress. That are 14 years. Nothing seems to have been done up to now. What then becomes the next course of action in terms of this kind of cases?
Make another advice last time, but what health? Keep the ministry and do the advice was Kana batho ba health, it's one of those ministries which has all these things. From years back here. I mean, we are looking at things in order that are more than 10 years old. The advice was last time or about 20 generally, to see what is possible and what is not. And within threshold, there's nothing that can be done. Within threshold, PS. The right to off because year in, year out, these things are permanent in the books.
Accountant General and Auditor General, can you proffer some advice, please, here? Rutule. Attorney General.
Tota nase ke utlwang PSA se bua. PSA re o itlhela mokoyo wa di-case o sa attendiwa. Yaanong se PSA se buang ke gore o sa attendiwa yana. Gore a gore yaanong a kere I cannot take them to attention because clearly they're prescribed. Yaanong se ke se irang ke gore officers are writing to me, the responsible officers, ba nkwala justifying where I should write off this matter. Well, this is where the case is under progress. What she means, the officers are individual. They're explaining to me why I should write off this matter. It cannot be Attorney General because it has never come to Attorney General. So for now, we're out to say progress. PS together with the officers investigating what really happened to justify her writing them off. Because for her to write off, she needs to have evidence that this is what delayed. Therefore, if it's irrecoverable, so we cannot get anything, then she approves or disapproves. So she was not specific. So if she's to do any work, like Honorable Pologolo say, it will be just to specify for a year, most agency.
Yeah, but you see, the issue here, Senior Counsel, is that these are matters that have been raised before with the Ministry of Health. She is saying, the council is the Ministry of Health. Even the last time around, when there was interaction between PAC and Ministry of Health, these were still the issues, and they were asked to attend to them. Today,
because Canada, some of them are more than 10 years. It was intimidating.
Ghana matches are relatively new in the ministry. The buck stops with her.
So 19 months?
It's a chairman. The buck stops with her, and staff Sahara like Botswana say judge. They leave a lot to be desired because by now action. So Dr. Ministry needs to be shaken, accounting officer. Thank you.
Accountant General and Auditor General, maybe you have something to say. These are matters that I think we really must engage and find a course of action.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As has already alluded, that there is a process in place when an accident takes place. That you report to the police and you and everything, and then disciplinary action is taken, as you alluded earlier. But in this case, it appears that was not followed in a number of cases. So, like the Attorney General was saying, right now is a matter of rectifying this, taking action, of course, with justifications, but and also looking forward that really measures be put in place on a very serious note, that we don't have a recurrence of such going forward.
Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. From Auditor General. I think, Chair, you've said it all, that these have been sitting here in the books for many, many years. And in accounting terms, actually, you cannot even disclose this as money that we'll ever get. So, but there are structures and functions available to the PS within the ministry, like the internal auditors are there. There is the government audit committee. In governance, you would need to be meeting at least quarterly and reporting on the follow-up that you are doing on these things, and you'll see them move. If you don't utilize those structures, then I think that's where the problem comes from. So I think the accounting officer should stipulate timelines within which this can be resolved, follow-ups. I think when you look at them as the accounting officer, you should be able to say, the name of this one, I know this is what we have done, and this particular one is not possible. You should be knowing them from the tips of, I know there are many, but it should be demonstrable that you know these issues, you go over them time and time again. So I think the timelines are needed so that the next meeting of the committee does not find these issues still here. Thank you.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm covered. Ke tsela re ke kgone gore a go kopane le Attorney General go dira the needful by the right of.
Attorney General is not even saying he wants a meeting.
Can Attorney General tsena ha ne refer to Attorney General.
Yeah.
So these are still internal. So none ke tsa gore yena gongwe it can be gore go mo comment in the specific progress.
Ke ra gore it's just a slip of the tongue. Gore as per your advice le ka ha the advice tsa bang ba buang ka teng aba kopaneng ba di right of tse di within the limit, tse di outside the limit, then ba dire the needful ya la le tsone di tswana because di go di prescribing.
PS Oatlhokwa la mekile, and I think Oatlhokwa la committee. In the past, PAC has interacted with Ministry of Health. Go ne go na le dikgang tsone tse dintsi di le teng dintsi ya ka dintsi ya kore ke tse di nnang kore next year gape tebo di tsewa di tsengwa mo dibukeng ditare tsa mare mme ke re dibuka tse di seng kana ka sepe ikete ro go dira sepe se se ka sologelang lehatshe molemo mme e le gore rwele dibuka tse e le gore dikoloto tsa teng a se tse di ka duelwang because processes have not been followed. Nna ne ke kopa gore wa utlwa gore ka re ke a kopa, and I'm being very, very nice here. Ke kopa gore ha re kopana gape go bo go supagala gore go tserwe action e mabapi le dikgang tse dikgologolo tse di mo dibukeng tsa lona. Mme ebile gongwe go ne o ka re thusa gore re supe gore gongwe within 3 months go bo go supagala noticeable progress in attending to these matters. We can't go on like this where that's not how we should work. So, and I just hope it will be heeded.
Yeah.